Okay, so this is my third film on Grudziądz, and we kick off in this rather lovely hotel called Hotel Rad. It belongs to the International Rotary Club. The Rotary Club in Grudziądz meets here every Monday night. I've no idea what the Rotary Club actually do. I think they're one of these secret organisations that get together to do good, if you know what I mean. 3 stars they say they have, but I think they're being rather modest. It's very tastefully appointed. I think that if they wanted to claim a few more stars themselves, I wouldn't say 5 but maybe 4, then they could certainly get away with it, but presumably they don't want to. There's the nice gardens. We're going to be going around Grudziądz a little bit today and later on, and seeing what we can see to add to the existing films, which gave rise to no small amount of controversy because of the fact that people from Grudziądz are very patriotic about their city, and you do things like putting German or Russian music as a soundtrack to it, and they get very upset about it and write lots of comments. So let's hope that we can get even more comments on this film than on the previous films. Okay, it's the third Grudziądz film, carrying on. That was the Zakłady Mężne Grudziądza. This is the sign going up to the Grudziądz bridge that we saw before. This is a slightly industrial area over that side, with sort of like railway and companies that need to back onto the railway. There's an interesting kind of like bridge coming up from the railway there. And here we've got that railway bridge. The railway here, of course, goes onto the bridge alongside the road over the Vistula there. So if I turned left, I'd be going over the Vistula on the bridge which is there. Maybe we can see the... It doesn't really show up very well. There's a ambulance coming from somewhere, but I'm not sure where it's coming from. Oh, it's behind me. So we'll let that pass. Some interesting architecture here. There is a Polish ambulance. We carry on forward. Coming to the area of Grudziądz, which is a little bit older. I'm looking for the Spichlerzi, the larders over the Vistula. We have to turn left. We can't go down into the town anymore, so we have to turn left. Lots of building going on, lots of renovations of facades going on, and it needs it. Look at that one there. It's all the clusters coming off the walls, but it's not going to take an awful lot to bring this up into quite a nice looking town. We can see the humpy-back bridge over there on the Vistula. It's a question of finding these Spichlerzi, as they're called. It's a question of finding where they might be. So there you've got your humpy-back bridge going over the Vistula, and some cranes doing some work with sand here on the banks. I think they're going to make a beach here. They've got some sand, and they're going to produce a sort of nice beach area here, so that the good burghers of Grudziądz can sort of like have a beach, a river beach that they can sunbathe on in the springtime. They're just sort of taking the sand and spreading it nicely around there, so that beach is nice and ready for the spring, for the tourist season. So trust me to get a phone call in the middle of talking. Okay, so I've come down this side road and we seem to be pretty much there. There's the Vistula, the mighty river that it is. Okay, I'll just park up, try not to fall into the Vistula river, and have a quick look at these things before driving on, just so that people can say that my documentation of this area is complete. Outside, so I don't have the glare back from the windows now. I'll do a quick 360 degree here, standing between these old larders, these old loading ports for corn. You can see all of these interesting bays on them. That'll make a good central point on the film. I hope that comes out as centre point. and then let's run it around. There's the top of my car, there's the river, the bridge on the river there you can see in the distance. I'll do the same thing with a slightly less close focus so you can see it all in slightly larger perspective. This is the same thing with the lens a bit more open wide. Nice bit of seagull calling over there. Always like that. Reminds me of my childhood. Very nice. And I'll take some shots, some gallery shots to finish off with. So that probably rounds off my cataloguing for YouTube of Grudziądz and what it has to offer. There's an interesting situation. I don't know if you can see that, but we've got a crow chasing a seagull. It's amazing how often that happens. Whether that actually even comes out or not, I don't know, but crows often chase seagulls to see them off, and that was one example of it. So there we are. Okay, this is probably the best of the views, just as that green spire emerges as I walk from behind the red brick tower. There's a green copper sulphate coated onion dome there, very nice, and the hillock there behind it with the autumn trees on it. That would be a lovely photo if I can get it in just the right light. Place to do a 360 degree of the whole thing. Is here. You see the lovely water. You get quite nice and close, you can see the movement of it. Not too fast at the moment. The odd eddy in there. Seagulls in the background there. Not making too much noise at the moment. On the far side also cars of picnickers. People enjoying the riverbank. I hope they use it wisely. There's the bridge over the Vistula, and behind the bridge the flats in the distance of Grudziądz. Helmno's further down, and some boats doing work on the river there. And back to the speakership again. They think they've got there's some fish around there. They're sort of squabbling over who's going to dive at them first. There's quite a hive of activity going on down there on the Vistula River by Grudziądz. And then once more onto the bridge, my friends. Vistula, Wisła in Polish. This lovely construction. This fantastic feat of civil engineering. The river. Looking back at the Vistula area we just visited over there. And the newer versions, newer area over there with the flats and everything, and this long complex bridge. And hopefully the denizens of Grudziądz and all of its expatriates living in Sweden, America, and I don't know where else, Germany, Ireland, Britain, will be tempted to come back and visit the town they left. It's probably in the top 20 towns of Poland. I'm not sure exactly where. Probably one of the most underrated places. It's got a lot to offer. If you want to set up business in Poland, you could do worse than come to the city of Grudziądz. So with this I close the third film, possibly final film, but who's to say? If people moan again and say that I have missed something in these 3 films, then who's to say that I won't come back and do number 4?